Frank Stevenson was sitting in his dorm room one evening, flipping through channels on his TV, when he came across a program about the lives of celebrities. He thought about continuing his search for a decent show, but somehow got dragged into the drama of the program. It was about celebrity sightings, relationships, marriages, fashion, and other gossip pertaining to other categories of interest. Frank watched the program from the time he came upon it to its very end and wondered why people would be interested in such things. The lives of these celebrities were no one's business but their own, and people should be ashamed to interfere. Frank continued these thoughts as he went outside to have a cigarette. While taking a drag, he caught the attention of a girl having a smoke on the other side of the entrance to his building. She was attracted to him and walked over and introduced herself. Her name was Pam, and she recently broken up with her boyfriend of 2 years and was looking for a rebound. The two talked and smoked some more cigarettes as Pam slowly inched closer and closer towards him. After 20 minutes, the two ran up to Frank's room and began to rip each other's clothes off and fool around on his bed. Frank didn't bother to check his cell phone on his desk that showed 3 missed calls from his girlfriend, Peggy, who resided at a university 5 hours away. When the two finished their business, they walked back downstairs to have another cigarette. When they arrived outside, there was a group of girls taking pictures of each other in front of the dorm. A group of them got together and posed for a snapshot, but little did Frank know that the girl all the way on the left was one of Peggy's friends from a summer program 2 years ago named Nancy. At the moment the photographer snapped the shot, Pam, in a moment of lust and attraction, pulled Frank toward him and kissed him powerfully on the lips. The camera caught them in the background, but no one seemed to notice. That picture was taken with Nancy's camera, and later that night she posted all the pictures she took on her Facebook profile, including the one of the lovers in the background. 5 hours away, Peggy just so happened to be looking at Facebook profiles of friends who she had not talked to in a while, and one of them was Nancy's. She looked at all the pictures and saw the one of her boyfriend in the background with the mystery slut, as she became known as. It took a moment for Peggy to understand what she had seen, and then stood up from her desk and screamed at the top of her lungs. When she gained her composure, she looked up Nancy's phone number on her profile and called her up to learn more information. She had no idea that Nancy and Frank went to the same college. The two talked for a bit, caught up, and chatted about old times and the wonderful 3 weeks they spent together 2 summers ago. Then Peggy explained what she saw on Nancy's Facebook profile and how upset she was to find out that her boyfriend was seeing another girl. Peggy wanted more information about the situation before she confronted Frank about it, and Nancy agreed to help find out all she could. Nancy had also dated someone who cheated on her and was more than happy to help punish an ungrateful, cheating cocksucker, as she called it. The next morning, Frank slept through all of his classes and awoke at 2 in the afternoon, well rested and content with his night's sleep. Little did he know the reconnaissance Nancy was collecting. Nancy recognized the mystery slut from her biology class and introduced herself after class. The two hit it off and went out for a cup of coffee. Pam quickly became comfortable with Nancy and spilled her guts to her about everything, including her sexual encounter with Frank the night before. Nancy milked every detail out of Pam, and after the two parted ways, Nancy called up Peggy and told her everything. Peggy slammed the phone on the ground, again screamed at the top of her lungs, and then picked up her phone and proceeded to come up with a plan to get back at Frank. While the two girls planned their revenge, Frank took a shower, grabbed a slice of pizza, did some work for his advanced calculus class, and ironically invited Pam back to his room for another shag. The best idea that Peggy and Nancy came up with was to make a lot of anti-Frank flyers and post them all over. The flyer contained a picture of Frank and had written on it, "My name is Frank Stevenson. I have herpes. I am also a cheater, a liar, and my dick is 2 inches long." Again, the two girls, unimaginative and very much in haste, could not come up with anything better to write on the flyer. Nancy created the flyer using a program on her computer. She made 500 copies and began to scatter them anywhere she could. She put them on people's cars, posted them in her dorm, academic buildings, bathrooms, cafeterias, and when she couldn't think of anywhere else to put them, she scattered them down on the ground at a nearby park. One of these flyers blew in the wind to the feet of someone reading a gossip magazine, and she put down the magazine and read the flyer. Needless to say, the person was captivated by it. Nancy also emailed the flyer online to as many people as she could in her school from an anonymous email address. This is where the largest amount of people saw it. Frank came upon the flyer while he was taking a shit in one of the bathrooms in his dorm. He could not think of why anyone would do this to him. People recognized him in the street wherever he went. Even people he didn't know seemed to know him. He called Peggy to tell him what was happening, but she had not picked up any of his calls in many days. Frank did some reconnaissance of his own to try to figure out who was making the flyers. After a semi-thorough investigation, he discovered that the person responsible was a girl named Nancy Newman, a girl he did not know, but it turned out she lived in his dorm. He went to her dorm room and knocked on the door. When she answered, he rushed inside and saw the pile of flyers on her bed. He screamed at her, called her vicious, degrading names, and began to question her about why she did this to him. Nancy told him how she knew Peggy, and that Peggy knew about Pam and the relations they'd been having together. Frank, outraged that Peggy would handle the situation in such an immature fashion, called her up in front of Nancy. In the heat of the moment, he called her many names and explained to her why he thought she ruined the relationship by doing such a thing. Peggy was shocked and at the same time confused, considering Frank had cheated on her. When Frank finished telling her all the things that were on his mind, he slammed the phone shut and in a fit of rage threw it at Nancy's head. It hit her right between the eyes and knocked her on the ground. While she lay disgruntled on the ground, Frank stood over her and called her more insulting and degrading names. He also told her that he would continue to bang Pam in order to spite Nancy and his girlfriend for the things that they did to him. Frank didn't know that standing behind him in the doorway was Pam, who came to meet Nancy before the two were to go out to lunch. She heard everything he said. Pam walked slowly towards him, stared at him for a bit, and then kneed him in the balls. Once he was leaning forward, she kicked him in the face, knocking him straight to the ground, rendering him unconscious. It should be mentioned that Pam is an All-American soccer player who is known for her corner kicks. Frank awoke 2 hours later and hobbled back to his dorm room. He ordered a lot of Chinese food and spent the rest of the night eating and watching TV because he felt he deserved it after all the things he had been through. When he turned on the TV, the first thing he came upon was the same show he had seen before, and on it was the latest celebrity gossip. Needless to say, Frank felt he could relate to these people more than ever before. The end.